never forget覚えとけ忘れるなあれこれそれ大切なの
Alright, y'all, we got episode 10 of the Time Chamber, and today, this is what we're talking about. Woke Warrior. So, what is a woke warrior? Before we get into that, think about it. When we were young, we watched anime. You know, we had Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Bleach, all those good animes back in the day. No matter what the main character said, we always followed them. But now, as you get older, you've noticed that some of these villains have a message that's not too bad. Now, think about it like this. In psychology, it's this dilemma. It's called the Heinz dilemma. It goes like this. If your wife is sick and you can't afford the medicine to give to her, do you steal it or do you let her die because society tells you you're not able to steal it? Now, you got to think about it from a moral standpoint or a societal standpoint. Now, getting into that, we see that there is a lot of villains that should be considered protagonists because they only have an opposite agenda of the antagonist. Sometimes they're doing something similar to what the protagonist is doing, but they're handling it in a different way with good intentions. So the first question I'm going to ask you guys is, should villains in anime be considered villains or antagonists? Because there's a fine line between the two. Go ahead, Malcolm.
I think it all depends on the situation, what you're supposed to label them. Because like you said, some villains they're out there just for the evil of it, just for the thrill of doing bad things. And then there's those that actually have a reasoning and they just can't afford it, whether on their class or whatever, or their circumstances. So I'd see it as it depends on the situation. If they're truly a villain, then you label them that. If they're antagonists, then you label them that, you know?
Facts, makes sense. What about you, Eddie? What do you think?
It's the same thing, you know? If you're in there for the wrong reasons, then you're a villain. If you're there and you have some type of good behind, and in your mind there's some type of good
intention, yeah,
you're a protagonist.
Mm-hmm. Facts. And what the second question is, like, what makes it so difficult for some viewers to disagree with these anime villains? Now, I'll give you an example, and I know Malk got a lot of examples, and Eddie got a lot of examples too. Hero Killer Sting, Hero Killer Sting from My Hero Academia. Yeah, he's got bad intentions. He's killing a lot of heroes off. But then you get the chance to think about his point of view. He said, you got too many heroes in this world that they're not saving. They're not saving for the sake of humanity. They're saving to get compensation. They're trying to make money off of it. And then bringing up another psychological term, it's a thing called altruism. Altruism is when you literally sacrifice yourself for the good of people, even if you do not know them or not. But now, you see, we live in a society now, God forbid, if somebody wanted to help somebody, they can't help them without having a camera in their face. You know what I'm saying? It makes you think, are you helping the person just to help them out? Or are you helping them just because you want to get recognition? You get what I'm saying? Kind of similar to the episode we had before this when we was talking about me and Malcolm with Black Clover. We was talking about the king in that show, the King. He wanted people to acknowledge him just because of what he was. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just trying to help people out just for the good of the community or the good of the country. You know what I'm saying? So, what makes it difficult for some viewers to disagree with anime villains and their intentions?
Go for it.
Tough one, huh? Y'all want me to get this one?
Yeah, you get this one.
Alright. What makes it tough?
Tackle this.
I got you. What makes it tough is because nowadays, a lot of the creators that create anime right now, they're making the viewer think. You know what I'm saying? It's not like back in the day, the heroes is right, Team Rocket blasting off again and all that good stuff. But now you have to really think about the notion of, is this villain really a bad person or is it just the ways that they're just handling things? For example, you got to think of Zamasu. In Dragon Ball Z, we had Cell, we had Frieza, Majin Buu. All these villains had intentions of their own. One wanted perfection. The other one wanted to be the strongest fighter in the world. The other one wanted immortality. But now you have a villain that's seen for himself that humans cannot survive in the world because all they do is cause wars and fight against each other. And now you got to think, in 2019, the year that we live in now, is Zamasu making this shit up? No, because every time you look at CNN, Fox News, all that stuff, they can't even agree. Every time you look around the world, there's always something going on, terrorism, fighting for no reason. People greed over money and all this stuff. And it's an anime that's showing you that from a protagonist standpoint that humans should not live, if they were able to, come together and love each other, bond with each other and all that stuff, humans will be able to survive. But he's saying, humans are going to really, destroy themselves. And why should gods, these divine beings, put their justice, put all their everything they got inside of them just to a society that's not going to give them nothing back or not even going to provide for each other? Remember when him and Gowasu went to that one world when you had the dinosaur people just beating each other up for no apparent reason? They just bumped into each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's the society we live in now. You driving and stuff, you what's called flip somebody off or they cut you off. Next thing you know, somebody takes a gun out and kills that person. Instead of trying to solve it a better way, you guys probably drive off in the same rest area and be like, you cut me off and something like, did you not see me? Anything like that. Instead of talking it out, the next option we got is to kill each other. So for me, that makes it seem like it's hard to disagree with a lot of anime villains now because they got their own justice to it. And I'll let Malcolm explain. Pain from Naruto, he got a similar point of view to that too. If you want to get into that.
Yeah. Well, I could bring up Scar from Metal Alchemist.
Uh-huh.
I could bring up Kurapika from Hunter x Hunter.
Facts.
I could bring up Night Raid from Akame Got Killed.
Uh-huh.
You feel me? Like in the instance of Akame Got Killed, they were seen as the killers and assassins or whatever. But what we didn't see was that they were the ones trying to change the capital because the capital's government was corrupted and corrupted the people into thinking that they were the bad ones when they're out there destroying villages and pillaging and doing all these things. That's not right in Night Raid's view. So they're trying to do something about it. But the means of them doing it is killing. Because they saw it as killing a necessary evil is the only way to get rid of it from the system. And a lot, like, you see them as a protagonist, but in the show, they're an antagonist. You get what I mean?
Facts.
And that's the same thing with Mugen. Like and Kurapika, their clans got done dirty. You know what I mean? And they're just trying to make sure that his people is liberated. You know, in that whole instance. So I always look at these things, and it's like people are like, nah, they going against the protagonist, so they not cool or whatever. You know what I mean? They got to be being. You know. But you have to look deeper into these people's situations because sometimes you're the ones that's in that same exact situation.
Facts. Definitely. What do you think, Eddie? When it comes to being basically like what makes it hard for us to disagree with a lot of villains nowadays?
This is going off anime, but yeah, like when you first asked the question, it made me think of the Avengers with Thanos. Like he said, you gotta kind of destroy everything to rebuild everything properly. And some anime villains believe the same stuff. So, you know, that even one with Kingpin too. He tried to destroy a lot of New York just so he could start fresh.
Facts. Now, it makes a lot of sense. Like, this leads me into my next question. Like, in the realms of personality, should all agendas be considered bad anime-wise? Sometimes the way they handle it could be considered bad. But should they all be considered bad? Like, think about Yagami
just
from...
Look at Madara.
Yeah, exactly. You go ahead and then I'll get into it. Go ahead, Mel.
Yeah, Madara and Obito, they wanted to make this infinite Tsukiyomi where the whole world would be in peace and there would be no more war anymore. Yeah, that their ways of doing it was unorthodox and crazy, you know what I mean? And it was kind of like nobody had control. But still, they still had that mindset where they're like, yo, wars will never stop unless we do this specific thing, you know? And a lot of people be like, nah, bruh. Nah, we want to see the wars. We want to see this because that's a normal part of human life.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually took the action into their own hands. It was like, yo, I'm about to do this. But, of course, they had to wipe out a lot of people in order to at least get that power, you know what I mean?
Facts.
And sometimes that's not seen as good or whatever, but sometimes they see it as doing it for the greater good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and similar to Death Note with Yagami, you know, at first he was targeting people like, what's it called, you know, killers, murders, all this stuff. He was targeting these people, and he had people behind him. People was like getting behind what he was doing. It's like, yes, all these murders, all this stuff, they're just unexpectedly dying and stuff. The crime rate's going down and all that stuff. The way he was handling, soon it went to his head and stuff. But it showed, like, even though he was the protagonist of the series, we can all look and say, bro, taking somebody's life, like, that's not something you're supposed to do and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But he was doing something in his eyes, like, that was going to change the world. He called himself the god of this society. You get what I'm saying? Sure, his ethics was a little questionable, but hey, it was stopping what was going on in the world. You get what I'm saying? Like, what's going? Yeah, you're killing off the people that's making the society as bad as it is. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's another notion right there. And let me see. Do you see some truth or merit into some of the antagonists and their agenda? Like, we talked about most of this and all this stuff. Like, basically, evil agendas versus moral agendas. Like, there's a difference. You know, a lot of shows, like, we just gotta do some bull crap just to do some bull crap. You know what I'm saying? Killing people off. Like, for example, you know, the Phantom Troop, when they came to York New City, they just throwing it down just to throw it down. You know what I'm saying? Just to get a copy of the game from, you know, Greed Island and stuff. But then you got other people like Zamasu, Zero Mortals Plan. We got a reason behind it and all that stuff. Mika, when he got, you know, now he's convinced by the vampires that humans are actually the bad people and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So how you guys feel about that? The evil agendas versus the moral agendas and the difference between the two.
It's kind of like Frieza. Frieza just wanted to destroy them, even though he was secure in thinking, nah, just to make sure I'm just going to destroy them all. You know what I mean? That was just an evil agenda right there. You know what I mean? He could have just kept them under his control or whatever. But just because he felt a little scared, he's like, I'm just going to destroy them all.
Facts. And he tried to mask
He didn't have to.
Yeah.
He didn't have to because apparently he's this elite warrior that nobody could overthrow ever. You know what I mean? Then why are you scared?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
And I was looking at it like, okay, now you have these things where people are willing to embody that evil to do good.
Facts.
You get what I mean? That's a lot of that's the difference. Some people, they just doing the evil just to do evil, but others are embodying that evil since nobody else doesn't want to do it, to do good in the society and do good in whatever world they're in.
Facts. And what about you, Eddie, before we close?
He kind of nailed it, you know?
Yeah, he did. It's going to be hard to try to come from behind that, but I'll try to, like, the one example, and I'll use Frieza just like you did, but the one thing, and we found out later on in, you know, the Resurrection F movie, is how Frieza, like, you know, Frieza, he's a pirate. He tried to finesse the situation. Like, at first, you know, it was his own intentions that Saiyans need to die. And then we found out that Beerus authorized the destruction. But Frieza's letting Beerus know that these Saiyans, like, they're not going to be able to be controlled and all that stuff. But in retrospect, Frieza know that they're going to overthrow him. That's evil intentions because he don't care about Saiyans, like, not being wild and all that stuff. He just cares about, like, is he going to be strong enough to control them stuff. Thus, we see with the cliffhanger with Brawley and stuff at the end of the movie and stuff. Most of these heroes, like, they carry most of the same agenda and all that stuff, too. You know, moral agendas, like, you think about the Inkay Miriam from Hunter x Hunter. At first, it seems like a bad agenda, and then he broke it down. He let us know, like, what's going on. This society, same thing like Zamasu said. Like, this society, all they do is, like, kill each other. They just start wars and all that stuff. They need a leader that's not, like, he had kind of the Machiavelli standpoint. Because he said, better to be feared than love. He didn't say that, but basically his action was better to be feared than love. The only time he was going to strike fear into somebody is when he felt like he was being lied to or somebody was trying to get over him. You know what I'm saying? But he was trying, in his eyes, he was trying to make a justified world that was going to be full of morale. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that's a fact.
But to the viewers, like, if you guys got any questions on the Woke Warrior, like, feel free to write in the comments on our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter. We're still under construction trying to get that up. Other than that, just like, comment, share. Like, just talk about us. Help us get up there. Help us rise to the ranks like the Black Bulls did. You get what I'm saying? But, all right. And other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Never, never, never forget. Obo e toke. Wasureru na. Are kore sore taisetsu nano dore. Iranai mono sute chao. Iru mono dake aria shiawase nano ka mo shirenai daro. Arigatou.